Welcome to an Impact Gamers tutorial. It's part of the one-click game series. This is the final example of a game, a one-click game, before we talk about finishing off the games and publishing the games in the final section, in section 6. And we're using Clickteam Fusion, a free edition. So if I load up Clickteam Fusion and go to our first template, and go to our game frame. So just double click on the game frame to enter it and zoom out so I can see it all. And let's look at the events. I've got one event that I'm going to delete to put us back to normal. So in this game, I'm going to try and code it without any practice. I'm going to have an object which we can fire upwards and hit other objects bouncing about, and we'll have some good blocks and some bad blocks, and we'll have things that we need to hit. So I'm going to first of all insert an active object and click to place down, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm also going to change its movement to physics static. Now physics static doesn't mean that it doesn't move, but physics static means it won't start moving until we apply a force to it. So if I choose that, it will tell me insert the physics engine. So let's insert a physics engine object. There we go. Now this contains the physical rules for the world that we're going to make the game in. So it contains gravity and friction and things like that. And that's invisible. But I'm going to put it outside because I just want to clear the frame area, the play area for my stuff. So if I run my application and click to start it, it just drops down. So just at the bottom of the screen, I don't know if you saw it, but concentrate down here, it just drops down. So let's set a event. So a condition, new condition, if the position of this goes down to the bottom, if it goes bottom, left, right, or up, sorry, a bit clearer there. If it leaves the play area, we want it to stop. So right click, movement, stop. Now because it's physics, it will bounce if it's got any elasticity, which let's have a look. Movement, no, it hasn't got any, so it will just stop. But if I set some elasticity, it will bounce. So there we go. It hit the floor. Also, shape of first image, great, that's good. I want it to be, I want it to actually have the shape of the first image. Although, if you look at it, it does end up balancing on those couple of pixels there, even though it's set to follow the exact shape. It's still balancing on a corner because there's no wind, I suppose. So next new condition, we want to say when we click the mouse, user clicks for our one-click game. We want to apply a force. So movement, physics. I just need to move everything, I think, to the other side today so that I get more space. Movement, physics, apply force. Now, you kind of have to trial and error. I'm going to try 200. It depends on the density of your object and the size of it, and enter the angle in degrees. Okay, so 0 is to the right and 90 is up. So I'm going to say 90. Now, when I do that, it's going to apply a force. And it's not making it move at all. Apply a force. So let's edit that. Let's go up by a factor of 10. Make it 10 times more powerful. There we go. And up it goes. And the force stays with it and it's stuck upwards. So I'm going to set a timed event to happen. So under the timer on this user clicks, I'm going to right click, fire an event after a given delay. I'm going to say just after a 10th of a second, maybe even less, a 5th of a second, well, 5/100ths of a second, we're going to call it stop force. No space. And then we'll set a new condition that on the timer, on the event, stop force, we're going to, under the movement, we're going to set the physics to stop force. Right, now if we run the frame again, there we go. And because the force is so little for not very long, nothing much happens. So let's make it go up by another factor of 10. And let's try that again. Run frame. That's a bit better. I want to increase gravity though, because it's taking too long to fall. So let's have a look at gravity. It's in the physics engine. Gravity strength. Let's change that 3 times stronger. Let's try that. That's better. Right, now I need to add my other objects into the game. Oh, I'll name this. I'm going to press F2. This can be player. And let's create another active object. And this can be good. I'm just going to colour it in. Double click to get the editor, the image editor on, and change the tolerance up. There we go. That can be our good thing, and we might as well set the movement to physics bouncing ball. That means that it realistically is pretty much the same static, apart from it doesn't have any deceleration, and it has elasticity turned on, and it's set to collision shape circle, but let's set it to the shape of first image. Okay. Now that's just going to fall off the screen if we run our game. There we go. So let's set it. So I'm just going to drag this rule onto the word new condition, double click to change, and then say movement stop, which is the same as bounce for a bouncing ball. There you go, off it bounces, and gravity being so strong, it's not bouncing very high. So I might actually leave gravity where it is at 10. And I might just change on player, on its movement. We have something called, is it gravity scale? Let's have a look. Gravity scale, 100%. Let's change it to 300%. And there we go. Great, so I can go up and that can go down. Fantastic. And I can just click, click, click. If I keep on clicking, I can stay at the top and then I'll drop down again. Now let's have some collisions. New condition. If I collide with another object, then I want this to, well, stop and this to stop. Same as bounce. I could have chosen bounce. But I also want to get this to shrink. So I'm going to set the scale of this to be whatever the current scale is, times by 0.9. Shrink by 90%. Okay. Okay. Let's run the frame. There we go. Ooh. Yep. Okay. Now to make the whole thing a bit more interesting, we need something bad as well. So let's see. We can get something bad happening. So let's add in another one. Let's just clone this to save time. A clone, we can make an evil twin. We'll rename it from good to bad. And we will just set up the same conditions. So collision between that and the bad one. We will get it to go to the next frame. And then we need to say that if it leaves the play area, it also stops or bounces, whatever your preference is. I'm going to pull this tick to copy it. And then we want to say that if these two collide with each other, then we want them to both bounce off each other. Okay, so if we run the frame. Oh, and there we go. Next frame. So let's get some points. If we hit this, then let's add to score. Score, add score, 10 points. In our frame editor, let's insert a new object. Let's insert some score. Let's put it up in the top corner. It grows to the left. On the end screen, let's copy this score across so that we can see what our score was, because that is the next frame. So when we die, we're going to go there. Let's go back to the game, double click. And then I think we just need to say a new condition that every 10 seconds, we probably want to create a new object, a good one, and we'll just create it at the very top of the screen. Don't want to place it outside the screen because then it might go off. Oh, there we go. That was a bad move. Let's try that again. Patience. Okay. Oh. So then you could make them be different animals running about, or oh, there we go, 30 points. And there you go, you've got your one-click game. There's an example of a game with just 9 rules there, 9 events, 9 conditions, well, more events, 9 conditions and a few events. You can try that out. Give it a go.